Yo, what's up? Duke and Ashley here. Hope you're doing well. Sick as a dog. Hope you're feeling better than I am. But I'm here to do a situation report for May 2022. I think first thing to do is just immediately paint the scene. Of course, you're probably, if you're anything like me at this time, you're probably having too much fun, and you're wondering, how can it be possible that I can feel any better or have too much fun? You're probably also thinking about seriously considering hijacking a space shuttle at a launch site so that you can escape planet Earth and get somewhere that's not colonized by Jews. But you know, the ownership of your space shuttle probably wouldn't it would torture you while you floated through space before you reached the next planet and died anyway. So instead of that, I'll give you the situation report 2022, and you can rest comfortably in shared misery. So I've complained about the executive cabinets before, of course, but I think we should talk about the current executive cabinet. I've complained about Trump's because it was filled with a lot of Jews, as were other cabinets in the past. So I brought this up before. Typically, I'm called anti-Semitic, which is impossible because I love Arabs. I'm called anti-Semitic by the Jews. Typically, you know, when I was complaining about how many Jews were in Trump's cabinet, a Jew contacted me on Twitter and said, so what if there's a Jew in Trump's cabinet? Good for him. It's like, of course, like, it's like underplayed to the max. Like, it's just nothing but straw man arguments. So the Jewish population, whether it's true or not, I don't know, but it's claimed to be 1% in the United States. It's probably higher than that. But in terms of official numbers, they claim it's 1% of the population. Now, like Catholics, for instance, if you go, like, you can look up articles right now because it's pretty conspicuous how many Jews are in the executive government right now. So the Jews will write about it in articles, and they will say, like, you know, wow, the cabinet is filled with Catholics and Jews. Well, that's not apples to apples, okay? You're not comparing apples to apples. So first of all, Catholicism is religion. Jews is an ethnicity. It's not Judaism. It's Jews, okay? Nobody's talking about Judaism. People are talking about Jews in the cabinet, okay? So comparing Catholics to Jews is not apples to apples. That's a very deep conversation. The fuzziness of that has been deeply enjoyed by Jews that probably don't have the United States at their best interest of their heart. Nonetheless, but beyond that, you also have to look at the Catholics being like 20% of the population, whereas the Jews are 1% of this population. So if you had a cabinet with 20% Catholics, that would just be representative of the population. That's all. Anything under that, if you had 10%, you could have Catholics complaining because they'd be like, we're not represented properly because we're a representative government. You understand that? Hopefully you do. So if Catholics would complain about that, the opposite of that is that people can complain when there's, you know, I don't know, like 25, 30, 40% Jews in power positions in the executive administration because they should be 1% of the population because that would be representative of the population, right? So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Good for him if there's a Jew in the administration. Like, good for him. It doesn't matter how good they are, right? It's about representative government. Representative government, right? It really is. So, anyway, in the interest of the Constitution, which is pretty much, you know, it's pretty much used as toilet paper now. It's not like I have any hope. But I think we should talk about the cabinet. So, current cabinet, you've got Anthony Blinken, that's the Secretary of State, he's a Hungarian Jew. You got Janet Yellen, that's the same Janet Yellen that was in the Federal Reserve. So now the Secretary of Treasury, what could possibly go wrong with that? Polish Jew. Merrick Garland, that's a U.S. Attorney General, that's a Russian Jew. You got Alejandro Mayorkas, that's the Homeland Security Secretary. Homeland Security, you got to be super careful with because they're pretty much looking like they're going to be the NKVD in the coming conflict in the United States. You're going to pay close attention. You got Avril Haines, Director of National Intelligence. So you got lots of Jews in the non-elected government that gets big budget and has weapons and personnel that can do dirty work. That's where you got the Jews. Sounds a lot like other countries that have gone through this. You got Buttigieg, he's the Secretary of Transportation. You got Isabel Guzman, Administrator of Small Business. Ron Klain, Chief of Staff. Eric Lander, Director of Science and Tech Policy. All these are control node positions. The other executive positions, they could really kind of be sprinkled in the trash in terms of how much independent effect they have and significance in the execution of policy, in transient administrative policy that can change the United States, like executive orders, things like that. All this stuff is being control noded by Jews. So hopefully everything goes perfectly because all eyes are on you. I wouldn't worry about it too much. The only one, Alejandro Mayorkas, Homeland Security. Obviously, Homeland Security has taken a position in the last couple of years to completely reorient for any kind of external threat to be solely focused on domestic terrorism and white nationalism, of which they put me on there because I released an autoseer for American citizens, because I thought it was important, because I thought you might need it sometime. Anyways, the guy who advises Department of Homeland Security and works in conjunction with people like Mayorkas, Joel Finkelstein at NCRIS, a Jew out of the East Coast who no one elected, has no background, just came out of the woodwork out of nowhere and started advising the DHS on policy. I discovered him because he had listed the Yankee Boogle as part of the Boogaloo movement. He was too dumb to figure out that the Yankee Boogle is actually making fun of the Boogaloo movement, because the Boogaloo movement is a operation. It's an operational term. It's a keyword term. They released it in the public sphere as a plan to catch everybody that would, it's like chumming the water. You chum the water and then you cast the net, right? And that's exactly what Boogaloo was. Came out of California. So he didn't know that, and so he put the Yankee Boogle in there with all the other bullshit. Who knows what kind of diligence he had in designing his his material. It's probably all full of shit. Nonetheless, you automatically know if he's putting Dugan on there, he doesn't understand what he's talking about, and so you can automatically discredit. He's not qualified to be advising the DHS on these matters. Anyways, it's a pet peeve of mine. Of course, there's no justice in this lifetime, so that's not going to be taken care of. In terms of the dystopian, Minecraft episode that we find ourselves in here, things in business. So Walmart is now doing home services. They're offering a new home service where they have people, employees of Walmart, enter your home by consent. You sign up for it. They enter your home. They stock your fridge for you when you're gone, not at home. Obviously, this is, I'm not going to explain to you why it's a bad idea. It's a sign of things to come, and it's a sign of, it's a benchmark so you can kind of like know how high the blood is, Other than that, you have things like Target, which is a personal experience. I don't leave the house. I don't go shopping much. I went to Target a few, maybe like 2 months ago. I was totally alarmed in the store to find giant communist advertisements for support black business for no reason at all, except that they're black. That's it. So it's just a racial appeal to support a certain like a certain racial identity. No explanation at all. Just automatically assume like, duh, black people, black business, you should be supporting it. I don't think I need to explain what's wrong with that. I don't even think I need to explain why you should be alarmed when you see that in a store, a nationwide store as big as Target. To complement that, you also have fuckery going on with economics, you have things like, for instance, Target's policy now of changing pricing, so when you purchase something, the price can change between the advertised price and what you check out as. I think they sell this as live pricing or something to that effect. It also comes in the flavor of, if you order online, you can order something that's advertised on their website. It can be shipped, it can be marked as shipped, order complete, and then they can, after the fact, they can change the pricing and recharge or add additional fee onto your original charge. And the banks are allowing them to do this, and it's considered live pricing. What it really is just a part of the overall destabilization effort to destroy the United States. Obviously, there's no sane or, there is no stability to be had when businesses can arbitrarily change prices, whether or not that's in their interest or convenience or not. That's not how it works with consenting customers. This is obviously just it's a load of bullspit. It's a load of bullspit. They're sinking your country. You're going to be the Titanic. You're polishing brass right now. Moving on from that, AIPAC ads are everywhere. If you're on YouTube, you're going to be seeing AIPAC ads. They're going to be doing election interference. They're going to be doing political interference. This is actually illegal because it's Jews in the United States and it's AIPAC, and it's not like, the Israeli government, technically, then it's not, right? But if it would be clearly illegal if they were doing that. Zionist Organization America has been in trouble a lot of times for this kind of stuff. ZOA is definitely, they've been on the espionage list in the United States. They got lobbied heavily by the Jews in the United States to get removed from that list. I think in the 70s they got removed. But they sat on that list for a long time. They had to get removed from it because it doesn't look very good if you're on an espionage list against the United States. But there they were. That's the ZOA is like the original Louis Brandeis organization. That's also who's backing DeSantis. So if you're going to be voting for DeSantis, just know that's a ZOA boy. You can bring them right into the White House. Really won't make a difference. You're already fucked anyway. Doesn't make much difference. You might as well just go big. Anyway, moving on. Obviously, I think Ukraine. You can see how much of a shit show it is. It's really a complete tragedy. Total tragedy, Ukraine. Man, I don't know what to say about it. Obviously, I mean, Zelensky. The only thing that's good about the Ukraine is that between Zelensky and Putin, but mostly Zelensky, he came out and did a video where he accused Russia of being Nazi Germany for 5 minutes straight. That was recently with their Victory Day, Russia's Victory Day, doing a comparison with, he was bringing up Victory Day, talking about how Russia was Nazis. The only thing good about it is that it's going to completely burn out anybody giving a flying fuck about Nazis, which would be nice, so that then we could move on to more realistic things that are a little bit more, true than the things that people compare Nazis to. Anyways, that's what's been going on with Zelensky. There's really no point in the Ukrainian conflict at all, except for to pull the West into contact with China. The West will, as the West continues to support Ukraine, even though it seems to be, I don't know. I mean, it really just seems like the more cucked you are financially as a nation, the more of an indebted slave you are to the international money system, the more you love Ukraine. But in general, the people of the United States are pretty uncomfortable. The whole thing is just alien and weird. Just the media's coverage of it and promotion of war. They're back and forth between being anti-war sometimes when it's convenient and being complete bloodthirsty warmongers at another time. It really just kind of shows the true colors about how you're not actually a human being. So the whole thing is terrible. Of course, there's been tens of thousands of people killed between Russia and Ukraine, not in their interest at all. In fact, not only is it not in their interest, but nobody even knows what the fuck the war is even about. If you watch the news, you're going to assume that Russia woke up, put on a pair of pants, and decided to invade Ukraine. There's not much talk about why that would take place. Even if it wasn't true, you would want to know what is the supposed reason. But they've got you so trained like a dog that people don't even ask that anymore. They don't have to. They don't need the whole story. They don't even need the excuse, you know? They don't need to. Because why? We're just we're just so perfect in our judgment and our righteousness that we can just judge a situation, right? It's a shit show, and it's going to get a lot worse. Now, China is the ultimate goal of that. Obviously, we know that because of the position of gold of about the last few decades. Really can't mean anything at all, except that the West is going to be poised to go to war with China. Now they're just putting things in motion to make that happen at the time when they want it to happen, when it's going to be advantageous. Obviously, the point of that is that China is racially homogenous. Obviously, the Jews can't operate in China because everybody's Chinese. So it's very conspicuous. Obviously, the Jews would like more freedom of exploitation in China. To do that, they can use people that are considered white, that the Chinese would have difficulty understanding who they were. They want them to, i.e. the United States, have them break in, punch a hole, giant war. The flip side of that coin is that it weakens the United States. You know, obviously it weakens the United States. The whole ending of this thing is that the United States is going to lose their sovereignty in the big way, because that's a huge problem for world government, is the United States sovereignty. The idea, the notion of freedom and liberty, and that individuals have rights and that you have property rights. All those things are a big, big problem that stand in the way of the design of the next phase of world government and world enslavement. That's definitely coming. Now, China itself, what you should understand is that China was completely made by Jews. Obviously, you're not going to hear this in your history class, but it's obviously true. I mean, everything from, like, you know, traditional Goldman Sachs cabinet members and executives are involved, like family members directly involved in the production of China. A large number of Jews, after the establishment of, you know, Bolshevik Russia, then turns into the Communist Russia, the Communist Party. They sent over people into China to revolutionize China, to set up the entire Maoist regime. You got Grigory Voltinsky, that's an early point of contact with the Chinese from that administration. He's heavily involved in it. But it goes all the way up into, you know, private finance, Nanking Ministry of Finance, their governmental finance arms have lots of Jews in them. Franco is obviously involved in the 5-year plan for China. It was called the Great Leap Forward. It sounds a lot like a Great Reset. That should have you thinking. But anyway, Great Leap Forward, that would be in 1958 to 1962, so it's a short time. In that period of time, and this is already after the establishment of the Chinese Communist Party. But to give you an idea of how integral the Jews are, Franco designed a large part of the Great Leap Forward. It resulted in 15 to 55 million dead. They don't really know. This would be a huge figure when you hear people talking about communism killed 100 million people. A big part of that was this, the Great Leap Forward. Other Jews that were intimately involved in early Chinese government, Sidney Rittenberg. There's lots of. I mean, there's a doozy of an article written on him from some Jews at the forward. Anyways, these are just facts. I'm just saying. All that I'm saying. I'm not trying to do it. What I'm trying to do is tell you that everybody, if you watch the news, if you turn on if you're trying to learn about history through traditional sources, they're not going to tell you that Jews are behind China, that Jews made the Soviet Union. They're not going to tell you that, but that's a fact. That's absolutely. The Chinese did not invent communism. Okay, they did not invent Marxism. The Jews had to come over there. The ideology had to come over there. It's foreign to them. Okay, so anyway. That's what China is. So the entire world right now is in the hands of Jews. China is in the hands of Jews. The United States is literally in the hands of Jews. They're literally running the country. The war in Ukraine that's going on that could trigger World War III, it's not going to. I mean, indirectly with China later. But anyway, that whole thing is, I mean, it's literally a Jewish president in Ukraine doing a dog and pony show in the news, who's run by Jews to show you a live performance of like, oh no, this is just real life, and this is all completely gamed. It's completely gamed. The outcomes are already known, and you can know them too if you pay attention. It doesn't really matter. We're pretty much at the point in time, if you did a parallel between ourselves and other countries, we are at the time now when the Jews get up in the secondary positions of power. Obviously, somebody like Biden, they could be replaced with like a tickle me Elmo, and it wouldn't matter at all. So once Jews get up into the second ranks of government, which is where we're at in the United States, although you're probably delusional and want to deny it and avoid this stuff and hope that it goes away, it's not going to go away. It's going to continue to develop into a deeper and deeper nightmare, and it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop at all, and the entire time that it's happening, notice that nobody is saying anything. Notice the entire time that this has happened, how many Bobby Fishers are out there. There's very, very few Bobby Fishers that will stand up and say, I think something is wrong here. I don't think we should have that many Jews in office. It's like when there's somebody farts in a room, and then you have like a group of people, and you realize like they know that they smell the fart in the room. I'm not crazy, and they're not saying anything about it. That's what's going on here. Okay, so it's going to end in absolute bloodshed and disaster. Absolute bloodshed and disaster. In my opinion, Jews should right now, they should be supporting radical individual liberty and arms in the United States to decentralize arms and support the American ideology of independence and self-proficiency, self-defense, things like that. All the things that are going to come to bear when the United States starts to fight DHS and starts to fight inevitably what is coming, which is going to be the pinch on the United States. That's what Jews should be doing. If you're a Jew and you don't want to get caught up in this, I would either GTFO or I would do that, because there is no way. This thing is so conspicuous, is so fucking obvious that you'd have to be a retard, and everyone is, to not understand what is going on. But they will. They may not know what the little OU on the can of food that they buy in the stores, but I do. And they will know